Employment index shows that South Africa's labour productivity has been declining steadily since 1995 and currently sits at a 50-year low. Over the last 18 years, the increases in real wages have not been matched by increases in worker productivity, though. Nozipho Mabanjwa reports.
The average South African wage has increased by 34% to just over 12,500 rands per month over the last 18 years. And in contrast, labour productivity has declined to just under 5,000 rands per month over the same period. Comparatively, South Africa's labour productivity is higher than other African countries, but the country fares poorly in comparison to other emerging economies.
I think first of all one needs to accept that South Africa, in terms of the best practices out in the realms of productivity, are lagging behind. So in terms of comparing to other developing economies and the developed economies, we need to pull our socks up.
When we compare ourselves in Africa, we are leading. So that basically gives us an advantage in terms of being looked at favorably by investors as an investment destination.
Declining labour productivity has a negative effect on unemployment figures. Statistics South Africa reports that the country's unemployment rate is at a record high of 25.2% in the first quarter of 2013. In order to continue realizing profits, business is absorbing the increased cost of labour by shedding jobs.
You know, one of our problems in wage negotiations in South Africa is this, and this is the employer's fault. There's never been a serious linking of the pay increase to some kind of return in terms of more efficiency.
We don't see 2013 as a strong job creation year. 2012 failed us on that regard, and we don't have high hopes for 2013. Of course, one looks at the overall numbers and one does see creation of a certain number of jobs, but one must bear in mind that the labor force is growing all the time at a very dramatic rate. So the job creation is not making a dent in terms of the total unemployment or employment levels.
And the impact of declining labor productivity does not bode well for investor confidence.
The fairly restrictive labor laws, and then also the industrial action we're seeing. The strikes and all of those things focusing on remuneration. So, I mean, whether our current wage level is fair or not, that's another debate. But the current industrial action we are seeing and the fact that workers are protected to a large extent could be preventing foreign investors from setting up base in South Africa.
Business is adapting to the increased costs of labour by using more capital and less labour to realise profits.
If at the same time your labour costs are increasing, and if they increase faster than your technology can cope with, then in fact your productivity is going to go down.
South Africa's labour law has come under fire from business for being too worker-friendly. The union's push for uncompetitive minimum wage requirements adds to this misalignment between real wage increases and labour productivity.
One of our problems in wage negotiations in South Africa is this, and this is the employer's fault. There's never been a serious linking of the pay increase to some kind of return in terms of more efficiency.
Meanwhile, the structure of South Africa's economy is changing. The decline in the manufacturing, mining and construction sectors in comparison to employment gain in the services sectors of wholesale, retail, trade and finance is typical of a post-industrialized economy. But South Africa does not have the technology or a skilled labor force to support a tertiary sector-dominated economy.
Compared to other developing economies, certainly in the areas where we compete, we're very sophisticated. Our mining techniques are sophisticated, bearing in mind, of course, that mining is a labour-intensive business. And so from that point of view, we are attractive. But as soon as you add in the fact that we're becoming less and less profitable because of the productivity thing, then that suddenly makes us look not such a happy bet.
There is a general consensus on what needs to be done to improve the country's labour productivity.
Truth of the matter is that we have to upskill the labour. We have to, again, contribute more in terms of our competitiveness by manufacturing more and using our relatively unskilled labor to benefit the economy.
I think the productivity challenge goes to the heart of work, the work ethic question. And in South Africa, we're struggling to get our work ethic right. We're struggling to find our feet to those values that build labor productivity and build economies.
One maybe need to look at specific skills that the country needs and focus on developing those instead of a general education.
But it seems that there is a leadership void in addressing labor productivity by the government.
What it needs to start off with is the one thing I think that is lacking, and that is gifted national charismatic leadership. Somebody saying, okay folks, this is a national effort. We're at war with unemployment. We're at war with the negativity the world has. We're going to put it right. Follow me. We don't see that.
While the country waits for the government to come to the party, business and labor must find common ground.
And it's very difficult to call on South African people to make more sacrifices. They've already done a lot. But sadly, that may be the only solution available to us.
Despite the noted absence of strong leadership from the government and the continued tense relations between labor and business, labor economists are optimistic that the labor productivity trend will not decline any further.